It's the worst hour of the week with Brian Vokey and Ramsey Badawi.
Can you still say that? Frankenstein? It sounds anti-Semitic.
It does, but it's not because. But the doctor was the Jewish. The Frankenstein is the guy. It's not the monster.
Who's the monster? What's the monster's name?
The monster.
It's just the monster.
It's Frankenstein's monster.
Oh,
I never knew that. Okay.
So when you're Frankensteining something, you're just being a doctor. It's okay.
Okay. Well, then we're Frankensteining this episode. We're figuring it out. So enjoy that, ladies and gentlemen. So this is the same week as what's going on? What is this? What date is this? This is Friday.
It's Friday. I'm in love.
That you're hearing this.
Friday the 24th.
How's your life?
23rd.
This is the worst. We're the worst hosts ever.
I should have.
We're both having two different conversations with nobody.
We're gonna get into it. You gotta.
It's a weird look. Let's just address it.
Yes.
It's not the normal and podcasting environment for us.
We got to get the elephant out of the room.
It's odd because
the podcast will continue though, kids. It's not your fault.
We can't hear ourselves.
Yeah, there's no headphones.
We're in a weird situation where I don't know. You can see here, but our knees touched earlier.
Yeah,
it's disgusting.
weird, and I don't want his fucking whatever you have, your desert diseases.
Well, I'll have you know, sir, that I got checked for that already. And
have you ever been over there?
To the Middle East?
Yeah.
I spent almost 2 years of my life in the West Bank.
Really?
Yeah, man. Younger years though. And I look, I'm going to be honest with you. It's a collective thing. I'm adding months together.
Okay. It's piecemeal 2 years.
Piecemeal 2 years. It's about 4 months at a time, 5 years in a row.
Now, Ramsey, I understand that you have a I'm Byron Allening you right now. Ramsey, I understand you have a funny thought on why the Israelis want to take the West Bank.
Yeah, I do. But first, I have another funny thought. You set me up for the wrong bit. Here's my thing with this.
I would love to see that on Unleashed, Comics Unleashed. Yeah, that's true, but you set me up wrong, so I'm going to just do my other thing.
Here's my thought. Don't you think Islam? Here's how you know Islam is not the religion of peace. They bring up peace a little bit too much. Don't you think so?
Right.
Everything is like, peace be unto you, peace be unto the prophet. Like, why are you guys saying it so much? God is great,
peace be unto the prophet, peace be, yeah. I was telling you off mic, I was skimming through the Quran the other day.
Yeah.
And
as one skims through the Quran. It's a skimmable book.
Yeah. Well, first of all, it's annoying how every single, I was reading the chapter Women.
Mm-hmm. There's a chapter just called Women.
Yeah, and it's all the rules about women.
Oh, okay, yeah. I don't. You know what's funny is I don't know that's. I mean, that may be true. I don't know. But continue. Okay.
I mean, in this Quran that I had, which it was funny because it was a Penguin Classic.
Yes. Yeah.
I think it's so funny that
some chick had to type that up and be like, "This is awful. I can't believe."
Yeah, she's translating the women section, and it's just like, you will serve your man and all that stuff.
Sure. If you don't cover your hair, you'll hang in hell from it. That's a thing.
Yep. But the amount of times they say God is good, it reads like a Dr. Bronner soap bottle.
Yes.
You know how he says God is great 9 million different times on the Bronner soap bottle?
No one seems to be worried about the Bronner soap guy.
He's dead.
He's published a manifesto on his soap bottle. I know. And we're like, this is great. Yeah, man.
It's organic. It's beautiful soap. That guy is the Unabomber, but luckily his enemy was
he also
body odor, I guess.
The Bronner family also grows weed.
Of course
they do.
Yeah, well, because it's not a good business plan to market soap to hippies. It's a terrible idea.
It's actually a really good point. I never really thought about that before. But they're the people who would want it the least, I would assume.
Yeah, it's like, who needs soap the least? I'll market to them.
It's like selling razors in the Middle East.
Yeah, exactly.
Gillette is in the Middle East. It's like, what the fuck do we do?
Gillette, halal blades.
Blades that never touched a pig.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but I
want to finish my thought about the Quran. I will say this: everybody always says, like whenever you see like a white liberal person defending Islam, they always say that it's a much more peaceful religion than the reputation. It's actually 10 times more violent than I thought it was. I went through that book. Holy shit, dude. It's fucking insane.
I mean,
because the Bible does it in tales and stories. So it's like this person beheaded this person for God and laid down with their father and all that stuff. But it's contextualized within stories. This is, you do this. You yourself. It's very different.
Nothing breaks my heart more than being the one who has. You think I want to stand up for women? You think I want to stand up for minorities? I don't, man. It makes me sick, but I gotta do it. It is so confusing. It baffles the fuck out of me when I watch people being like, "Look, it's a religion of peace, and we all got." It's really scary.
It's not a peaceful religion.
So Jesus Christ came through, right? And he took the New Testament and he was like, "Let's get rid of the Old Testament." Islam was like, "We'll take that. Like, we'll take whatever parts of the religion you guys all decided is too scary for yours, and we'll fucking mash them together, and I'll make a super scary religion."
Yeah, it's like the 1970s Raiders,
bro.
They're like, let me take all the felons and murderers and put them onto one team.
As a child, it's absolutely that.
They're the Oakland Raiders of religion.
They really are. They really are. One time I really do.
Excuse me, Las Vegas Raiders.
They're in Las Vegas now?
Yeah.
I one time did see, I'm not kidding, I really thought, I was like at the gym and I was running and I thought I saw a thing on ISIS and I like stopped, I wanted to watch it and it was the Raiders training.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. I really thought it was ISIS. And I was like, oh, no, never mind.
The flags look a little similar. The two cross swords.
The two cross swords. Yeah. You know for a fact that at ISIS, they were like designing their logo and then they put something up and someone was like, that looks just like the Oakland Raiders.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we'll put it down.
And they were like, perfect. That's exactly what we were going for.
And one guy was like, let's cool it. Let's not be that bad, all right?
Yeah, and they killed him.
You know, the ISIS flag, the reason, have you noticed that it kind of looks like Comic Sans handwriting?
Yeah.
It's the Prophet Muhammad's handwriting. He wrote like, God rules or whatever in Arabic and they like, framed it or whatever.
How did that stay? How did that last?
I'm not really sure. All I know is
when was he around?
He was around in like 900 AD.
Damn.
So
do you think he met Bernie Sanders?
Maybe. He could have. He could have met Bernie. Stupid. I'll tell you what, I promise you he didn't meet Bernie because if he did, we wouldn't know who he is today.
I had that in the chamber when I asked you when he was around.
That's really funny. It's weird when people are like my dad was really big into like, by the way, this is slowly turning into just a Muslim bashing. That's fine.
I mean, I'm a huge fan. I feel like I'm learning about Islam through you.
Well, that's the thing. And I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to say this because these fucking liberal elites won't let me say it, man. They won't let me do it.
What liberal elites are you meeting with? What liberal elites have their boot on your neck?
Right up here, buddy. I'm pointing to my head for the podcast listeners.
Okay.
I've met with no liberal elites. This is a fantasy I have.
Your brain is a liberal elite?
Kind of is.
Yeah.
I kind of think I actually hate liberal elites because I always wanted to be one and they wouldn't let me.
Yeah, whatever you hate is what you want to be.
I want to be a liberal elite so badly. I just can't jive.
Yeah,
what do you want to be?
I guess if we're going by what I hate the most, I guess the New York Yankee.
Okay, come on, buddy.
No, what bothers me the most? Oh, I think I've always wanted to be like, if we're being vulnerable, I'll be vulnerable.
Let's be vulnerable.
You want me to be vulnerable?
This podcast doesn't have to be just pure laughs as the first 20 minutes of this indicated.
We probably killed somebody. They probably drove off the road laughing so hard. The podcast is still playing and their car has been split in half by a telephone pole.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Especially with that Bernie meeting. Abraham, was it? What was his name?
No, Muhammad, buddy. Come on.
Whatever. Abraham. Bernie did meet Abraham Lincoln for sure.
He absolutely did.
Yeah, for sure.
He was the one who talked him into slavery being a bad thing.
Yeah, exactly. What were we talking? Oh, yeah. What do I hate? I think if we're going by what I hate, I guess I want to be an angry kind of young granny feminist, no humor woman in a homemade dress.
But it's kind of nice because you see them and you go like, that's somebody who seems like they have, you know what it is? You see those people and you go like, there's something you figured out in life that I haven't. You're so confident and sure about something.
Yeah. And they also I guess the appealing part of that culture is that there's zero accountability.
Absolutely.
And there you get to just fire from the hip as like a white liberal lady.
Whatever feels good.
Yeah. And everything in your wake is fucking burned to the ground.
If fucking people get convicted wrongly or fucking killed.
So maybe that's why they bother me so much. Maybe I just want to live a life with no accountability.
Do you think this means that my dad wants to be a Jew?
I mean, if we're following this game literally, yes.
My young pop, good for him. That makes me that really makes me like kind of love him a little bit more. Yeah. My dad wanted to be a young Jewish comic.
You should tell him that, and he'll cut your head off.
I really feared for my life growing up.
Any swords in your house growing up? No swords.
We have one. We have a gun that my father. So my dad moved to this country, and he somehow ended up owning a bar. right? This is before
That's a nice sitcom right there.
Before he found Allah, he owned a bar in Long Beach called the Twilight Zone. I swear to God. We have one weapon in our house, and it is a gun that somebody traded him.
Did he have like a Islamic do-do-do-do? I don't know how to do that scale, though. But the Twilight Zone version of it.
You know what? That's really...
You are entering the Twilight Zone.
My father has never been so deliberate. He's never been deliberate about anything in his life. So everything he owns, he's never been like, I'm going to put my flavor on that. It's all just been shit he's stumbled into. He used to own a bar, and he settled a tab with a guy one time. The guy just gave him a gun from like the fucking 1920s or whatever.
Oh, cool.
And it's the only weapon we have. We have that, and we have all the weapons. We have a crossbow. All the weapons in our house could be used in a game of mousetrap. We have no like real weapons. You guys have weapons in your house?
Yeah, we have weapons. My dad has a gun in his car, a gun in his nightstand.
Your dad's like a real fucking American.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's like a real deal American.
He loves Trump. He owns guns.
Loves Trump?
Loves Trump.
Ooh.
Yeah, he's a big fan of Trump. So we always argue. You know, it's funny. I'm such a goddamn diseased contrarian.
Yeah.
That like when I'm here, I feel myself like floating right in LA.
I'm the same way.
And then I get to Florida, I'm like, oh no, I hate the conservatives.
I'm the same way. I mean, a little bit. But when I was in Orange County for a couple of years, I was a raging liberal, and then I got into college, and everybody around me was a liberal, and I became a fucking young Republican.
It's a problem. It's exhausting being like this. You know, if in order for me to be a good person, I have to live amongst really bad people, and then I'll rebel against them by being a good person. You put me in a room full of good people, I'm going to be the worst person in that room. You're the worst person.
Put you in front of a bunch of bad people. You're all of a sudden fucking donating to charity.
You know what my dream job was growing up?
What?
I wanted to be a heel wrestler.
Oh, wow. Like Kurt Angle or something?
Yeah, I wanted 40,000 people booing me while I circled in the ring, just like with my arms out, just showering in those boos. That. Oh, dude, that sounded so cool.
My favorite wrestler was Kurt Angle. I used to love him.
That's the worst favorite wrestler ever. That sucks so bad, dude.
Bro, when Kurt Angle...
You saw that crew cut and you were like, he seems like a good, clean American.
I'm serious. When I saw him come out on that fucking... I swear to... I became a wrestler in high school because I loved Kurt Angle so much.
Did you wrestle in high school?
I wrestled in high school, dude. Yeah, man, I was good too.
We got to get you and our producer Tyler. By the way, shout out to Tyler.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Tyler was a wrestler. We got to get you guys to wrestle for. You know what? That'll be our first Patreon. We're gonna have you two wrestle.
Tyler, what weight class?
135 and then 150 my senior year.
Same, except for I didn't do 150, but I was in 135, 130. I could tell you're built like a wrestler. Wrestlers are just like...
Yeah, you can usually tell wrestlers. You don't look like one to me.
I'm not built like one. I'm not built like one.
They all look like Adam Devine.
They do.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, and Tyler will back me up on this one.
Like
they either
Adam
look
Devine
like
too.
Tyler or... The really good wrestlers are also super lanky. So they're like really tall and they're in their weight class are 130, but they're like 5'11 and they've got these long arms and they fucking look goofy.
They get all Gumby on you?
They get all Gumby. They got all fucking Dulcim on your ass. You remember Dulcim?
No.
The Indian guy from Street Fighter?
Oh, I thought that was an instrument. I thought that was like an Appalachian stringed instrument where they're like, yeah, we use fucking pig sinews for strings.
Dulcim is either an instrument or it's an Armenian dish.
Yeah, exactly.
You want some Dulcim? Nah, I'm good.
What is that? They're like rice. Yeah. it's rice with mint.
Mint.
Yeah, minty rice.
This is what you want to get away from. I want to tell every culture, mint only belongs in Gub. This is me telling you guys right now, public service announcement.
Take it out of your southern juleps. Take it out of your rice.
It's bad everywhere except for gum. I guess it's okay in chocolate.
Tea, it's fine in tea.
It's fine in tea, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's all right, I guess, a little bit in certain places. Okay, you can keep it. I just... don't like minorities. What do you think?
That's you saying you don't like dad.
I love my dad.
Okay. Does he listen or something? You said that like a fucking hostage.
I'm still scared of him. Are you not scared of your? Oh, you're not. That's
I'm
right.
not scared of my dad. We're too close.
He never beat you.
I know I got beat, but it was always he was really good about how he beat me. And now I've told this story. I don't know, a long time ago. But now tell me, I want to get your thoughts on this, and I'll tell you what people have interpreted this story as.
Okay.
Anytime my father ever hit me, it was the belt usually. And what he would do is, if I did something, he would make me go into my room, and I swear he was doing this on purpose. He never hit me right at the moment of me doing something wrong. He calmed down. And I think he wanted the punishment to be associated with discipline and not with emotion, which I think is a very smart thing.
I actually agree with that.
So he would calm himself down, and then I would wait in my room, and then he would come in and give me the belt, and he would explain why he did it or whatever. A lot of people think that that's like psychological torture.
Yeah, it kind of is, but also at the same time, it is, but I can get behind it.
I think if you're gonna hit somebody, I think you don't do it emotionally, because now I don't respond to anger with violence. You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
No, I plot, and I go home. I draw a map of their house.
You come back when you're calm, and I fucking cut their throats.
I come in like Mark Wahlberg in The Departed. I'm wearing hairnets on my feet.
I'm going both ways now, because I'm like, well, what is worse now? Like, isn't there something so fucking sinister and scary about somebody calmly beating the shit out of you?
Well, also, I wasn't getting the shit beat out of me. I was just getting some lashes.
You're just getting
from
a couple
belt.
lashes? Dude, I was getting fucking boom, like clocked in the head.
Yeah, you were getting closed fists.
Closed fisted.
That's great, dude.
All 5 foot. Because my dad was one of these.
It's good for you. You're a good guy.
These foreign guys who are just sort of low to the ground, but it's a lot of something's going on. He's got this weird foreign guy strength.
Yeah.
He's got strength that only comes from lifting suitcases in Tel Aviv onto buses, like getting paid $2.50 an hour to like toss suitcases or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I love the guy. I'm still cool with him, but he went a little hard on us a little bit.
Who does the construction in Tel Aviv?
It's Palestinians.
It is.
We're the Mexicans of Israel.
You guys are
We're the Mexicans, the blacks, we're whatever. People don't like.
What? Whatever. The Polish of the English.
Yeah, absolutely. The Indians of the Saudi Arabians.
Right.
Indians in Saudi Arabia are all like the butt of the joke. They're the cheap labor. They're
Filipinos too. I think they
Filipinos
enslave Filipinos in Dubai.
Bro,
Right?
I'm sure they absolutely do.
That's a fact.
Dude.
That's a fact. You heard it here first, folks. The Dubanese are enslaving the Philippines.
Have I already talked? And I have the Dubanese. Have I already talked about
Dubaians?
Have I already talked about my uncle's Sri Lankan slave? Have I already told you about this?
No, but I like the alliteration he chose.
Yeah, he chose my uncle, dude. This is what I'm saying. Like people kind of like, I think like don't get it, but I have really complicated feelings towards the Middle East for a reason. We used to go, and my uncle literally had a slave. She was a Sri Lankan woman.
What does that mean?
Bro,
What does that mean?
she wasn't getting paid. Like,
did he buy her?
yeah, well, what happens is
Let me hold her back into a man. Sorry. That's the funniest thing I've ever heard.
bro, let me tell you a little bit something.
My uncle had a slave.
My uncle, let me tell you about yeah, slave. Let me tell you a little bit.
Is that a children's book in Palestine?
It's how we learn to brush our teeth. And then a slave.
He owned. Where did he buy her?
Well, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised what you get at a Jordanian Safeway. It's he really did. He's a bad dude. He's a bad dude.
Where did the slave sleep?
So,
tell me more, please.
Here's how this works. So, in the Middle East, and I do have to emphasize this to the listener, Bryan is not laughing at the slave.
No, it's the ridiculousness of the situation.
It's the fact that he owned a Sri Lankan woman. Okay, here's how it worked. And my uncle's a piece of shit, and I hate him so much. Just to be clear about everything.
Why? What'd he do?
He was just a bad dude. He like, bro. What did he do? He was bad, dude. He was really mean to me one time.
It has nothing to do with the slave,
bro. This guy was a monster. So you basically, here's how it works. Sri Lankan women come to Jordan, Middle East. They want to work as sort of house servants kind of situation. Already weird, but you go to like a almost like a where you would get a babysitter, like an agency, right? So he goes, he pays the agency, they get her situated. She comes over. She has a room in his house. He takes her passport and all of her travel documents.
Epstein style
on her. Mm-hmm. And he goes basically like, I'll pay you at the end of the month or I'll pay you at the end of the year all in one lump sum. And so she kind of goes, cool. And then just 1 month comes by and he goes, you know what? Next month I'll pay you. Next month I'll pay you. Then finally, here's a great, I'm happy to tell this story because here's what happened. One day, the Sri Lankan slave, she loved me and I loved her, dude. I loved, but she
the fuck is your life, dude?
People wonder like why I'm like all like fucking crazy.
Yeah, dude. You do not need those energy drinks, man. You are fucking.
If I don't pound a Red Bull every day, every hour on the hour, then I start thinking about it.
My slave owning uncle, you said?
Bro, my slave owning
My
uncle.
slave owning uncle.
It's gonna come on right after my teenage whatever, my fucked up teenage fantasy or
it's
whatever.
gonna be called Slavish, and it'll be on ABC.
Slavish. Jesus Christ, dude.
Listen, we're not.
Hey, we're not. No. We're not.
We're indicting your uncle
We're on
right
the
now.
right side of this, Sri Lankan history here.
I love.
I love.
Tell me what happened.
Well, here's the great part. So my uncle lived on the 7th floor in a Jordanian apartment complex.
Is this a walk up or elevator?
Walk up.
Walk up.
Locked door. He would every night he would lock the door and like turn like it was one of those buildings where it's so old that you would lock the front door with a key and you pull the key out and the door's just locked.
Right.
There's no deadbolt or anything like that.
Right.
So he would do that every night, locked up the house, all that stuff. One night, what she does is she breaks the kitchen window open, and on the way out, she steals all the jewelry.
Wow.
It fucking rocked, dude. When I woke up that next morning and was gone, I was so happy because she punched out the window and slid down a storm drain 7
Jesus
stories.
Christ, dude.
7 fucking stories. She slid down a storm drain with all of my uncle's jewelry. And I remember waking up the next day like I found a Sri Lankan Santa Claus. I woke up, I was like, where's and they're like, she broke out and she did this. And I remember being like,
she was immediately robbed and killed.
She was-
as soon as she stepped out,
Well,
she's just holding gold in her hands. Some guy was like, whoosh.
well, then my other uncle ended up buying her. But that's neither here nor there. Bro, that's what I'm saying. So when people hear my hostility, understand that was normal behavior there. Like if my uncle wasn't like an anomaly.
That wasn't the only slave around.
Wasn't the only slave. He literally, it was just like a bunch of, Nicki Minaj looking women. You know what I mean?
Right. MIA. Yeah.
So
To meals.
I'm so filled with so much feelings about the Middle East for that reason and a bunch of other stuff. But boy, I haven't thought about Mary in a minute.
That's a
dude.
great story, dude.
God, I miss her so much. I hope she's okay.
You've seen a slave.
Yeah, dude.
That's fucking crazy.
Isn't that crazy? You've never seen a slave before.
No, man. That's on my bucket list, though, for sure. Do want to free a slave.
Sure. Of course. That's the
but
whole
in
thing.
order to free a slave, you have to be a slave.
You have to be a slave.
You know what I mean? It's kind of a tricky bucket list.
It's questionable. Anytime you're anywhere near a slave, you have to stop and ask yourself, am I doing something wrong? What's going on here?
It would be funny to try to talk to her about how we're all wage slaves. Try to organize her like a socialist. Be like, I understand. We are all wage slaves.
Oh my God, dude. This is what I'm
That's
talking
how
about.
Marxism just doesn't work.
This is why, it's another reason why, like sometimes when I hear people talk and the way they talk about things, I'm just like, no, you don't get it. Mary, the Sri Lankan woman, I'm like holding them by their face and just like, she's a slave.
Yeah.
She got out.
Stop using superlatives.
You don't have any fucked up stories like that from your childhood?
I mean, believe me, I have fucked up stories, but they don't involve slaves.
I saw you drink coffee out of a trash can the other day. I know you have fucked up stories.
The coffee came out of a Keurig. The cup came out of the trash.
Okay,
which
fair enough.
I rinsed off.
I tried riffing on that at an open mic that Bryan was hosting yesterday, and no one laughed. I was like, Bryan drank out of a trash can. They're like,
yeah, you know why? Because they're open micers. They all live in trash cans.
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, no, you got to try that in front of a paid audience, and they would have all laughed at me.
They would have all loved it.
Yeah, because they have jobs and lives.
How's your life?
Hanging on by a thread. I pulled my ass today running an end and round button fly route. I was playing football with Tyler.
Are you
the producer?
Are you going to be like? What are you doing? Are you trying out for a football team? What's going on? Is there some kind of a? Did you find out that you can like maybe there's a loophole for you to go back and get your GED? You could join a high school football team. You've been doing this a lot lately.
Here's the problem. I had pulled my ass playing earlier a couple weeks ago, and I played a game, but I cannot exercise unless a ball is involved. You know what I'm saying?
Because otherwise it feels futile.
It's just boring.
Yeah.
So I want to go out on the football field and run routes. I want to play catch. I want to play tennis. If nobody loses, I can't get my heart rate up. I need somebody to lose.
Yeah.
Somebody has to be wrong. Somebody has to lose in order for me to exercise. Otherwise, I mean, I had also this morning, I had ice cream for breakfast. I'm lactose intolerant, shit a bunch of blood. I pulled my ass playing football. You know, it's a typical day.
I mean,
it's Thursday.
But that sounds, I'm happy to hear that. What like led you to have ice cream for breakfast? Like,
sometimes I just point the plane at the ground, but I'm such a square now that's me pointing the plane at the ground. It used to be like, I'm going to black out for 4 days and not know where I am when I wake up. Yeah. Now it's like, ooh, I'm going to have ice cream for breakfast because I want to die.
It is. Well, I have a similar experience going on in my life too, because I used to be a very similar way. And now for me, it's not so much like ice cream in the morning, but it is like, I'm going to have fried rice right before I go to bed and wake up with
nightmares, everybody.
Bro, I literally like woke up on my couch the other day and I didn't like fall asleep there. I fell asleep in my bed, but I woke up on my couch because of fried rice.
Dude, that happened one time. Me and my friend Brad were smoking opium and watching Independence Day. On VHS. And
this means you were smoking opium. I just want to be clear. This means you were smoking opium before it was readily available to everybody.
This was like 2008.
Hold on, I just want to point this out. Remember when I called Kratom yesterday? Whole Foods opium?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry. Whole Foods fentanyl. Go ahead.
Whole Foods fentanyl, Kratom. We were smoking opium and watching Independence Day. I don't do that kind of stuff anymore. I don't watch movies. But
I like that joke. That was great.
But we nodded out or whatever you want to say, passed out on couches. Then we woke up on the opposite couches. And we both were like, we didn't have sex, did we? We both immediately woke up being like, why are we on different couches? And I like immediately just started feeling my ass. But that's very relatable to what you were saying. You would have felt
your ass. I would have checked my dick for shit. That's how straight I am. I know I'm a top.
Yeah.
If things get weird, I'm like, let me check.
I think I'm an opium bottom.
I've never had anal sex before. I just find it to be disturbing. Yeah. Do you have anal sex?
Yeah, I've had a lot of anal sex. I love it.
Giving or receiving?
I've been pegged.
Good for you. That's awesome.
I try everything.
Yeah.
But our Mexican producer got really uptight when I said I've been pegged. It hurt his
I'm telling you, dude,
Catholic upbringing.
It's something in all of us brown people where we're all just like, all right. It's
you all molest children but aren't gay.
Yes. Because we're not falling in love with them. It's a different thing. I've explained this to you a million times. If you're not going to understand the difference, you could fuck any child you want as long as you don't fall in love with them. That's the.
Okay, you heard it here first. Ramsey Badawi, folks. You really walking that curvy blade right there.
Walking a very curvy blade. Yeah.
You said something that reminded. A comic friend of mine who's very famous, and I cannot name his name because of what I'm about to say. Tyler knows what I'm about to say.
Bill Burr.
Bill Burr. Is that like Charlotte's Web? Bill Burr. He said the other day. I can't do never mind. I already did the impression, so I can't.
Do the impression.
Yeah, I can't. It's going to give it away.
Damn it. Okay.
People will be able to piece it together. It's too rude.
Okay. All right. Well, you can cut the impression out if we have to. Okay, go ahead. Okay, tell me the story.
Are we really going to cut the impression out?
We'll cut the impression.
He said, brother. He said, I had anal sex the other day. I felt so gay I wanted to puke. This is a sentence a guy looked me straight in the eye and said that to it. I was like, wow, different strokes, man. Different cultures.
I don't know what it is, man. It's fine. I'm happy for everyone who's doing it.
That's why, you know what's so funny is that
I feel the same way about anal sex as I feel about poke. You know? It's not for me.
That's fine. You want it in drive-thrus, though.
Yeah. I get it if you're Hawaiian, you know? I feel like if a Hawaiian guy was having anal sex, I'd be like, that seems like it's part of your thing.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, that's the
Seems
luau.
like it comes with the package.
Yeah, exactly.
You're eating pigs with apples in the mouth.
Yeah,
I mean, you're living a decade
sand
of life.
pigs too. They're cooking them in the sand.
Oh yeah, that's right. They're like, oh yeah, geez,
Yeah.
man.
How does that not get in there?
We have literally we go after like there's like not one group of people who's gonna walk out from this one and be like, oh, we were unscathed by that podcast.
Well, and then therefore, it's a good thing.
We love everybody.
Yeah, it's like Don Rickles, you know?
Exactly.
I make fun of everybody. The blacks, the Jews, the Italians. What does he say in The Irishman? Not those Italians, though. The mobsters.
Yeah, that was so funny.
That was Jim Norton, dude.
Yeah, man, that was great.
But it is funny how homophobic not white cultures are.
This is the point I've constantly been trying to make my whole life. For all the bad you want to push on the white people, they also invented the idea of being like, maybe we should not.
Right.
I used to do a bit about this. White people were the first people who ever invented the concept of talking to your children. No other culture before white people. You try to explain that to my father. Hey, you talk to your kids? He'd be like, yeah, but like after you kick the shit out of them, right? Like,
right.
You go, no. Instead of talking, you go, but you say violent things. You still, it's a, you know.
When's the last time your dad's hit somebody? Were you the last?
I was probably the last one.
God.
And it was a couple weeks ago. No, he's still beating the shit out of me. He's 7. He's still fucking working me over.
Does he work still?
Yeah. That guy, I actually am worried. If once he stops working, he'll just die, I think.
Does he smoke still?
No.
Really?
He just was one of the people who just like he'll never know how to retire.
Does he hit the hookah?
Nah, he used to. Now he's just hitting the Koran, dude.
Dude, I can't wait to get back to Germany because I can't smoke a hookah. I can't plan that activity. It just feels too weird.
It feels weird.
I feel like a poser.
The only time you can plan to go to a hookah bar is if you're 18 and you're looking for some adult fun.
See, I really love hookah bars.
Yeah.
But I have a Syrian friend who we go smoke. What do they call it?
Which one? What is it?
It's the hookah. What do they call the tobacco? What's tobacco in? Hashish? No,
hashish is like it's like weed.
That's hash. No, it's not that. Anyway, it doesn't fucking matter. We go to the hookah bars and I'm with him, so it's like, it's a fair thing. But like I can't go to fucking Beverly Hills and hit a hookah bar.
Yeah.
It just feels too honky.
It would feel goofy. And also again, at the same, it's like what if I just ran in, was like walking down the street and I looked into a hookah bar.
You saw
That's how your stupid ass doing this the hookah bar move where they hit it. And then they do the thing where they head back.
Yeah, because it's like a whip it, dude. It gives you a good rush. I like the watermelon flavor the most.
Yeah. I got to tell you, that's what got me into vaping initially. Was I was like, well, it's like
hookah. Yeah,
it's like
a watermelon hookah, dude.
Some Semitic man, and I mean it in the broader sense, at a kiosk sold it up to me that way, being like, hey bro, it's like a hookah in your pocket.
Has there ever been a kiosk without a Semitic man in it?
No, not at all.
It's never happened, right?
Although occasionally there's a cool black dude trying to sell you a cell phone case. And that guy rules.
Have you worked at a kiosk?
No, it's been my dream to work at a kiosk. I would love
to run a mall kiosk.
Bro, I was just talking to somebody because we passed by a kiosk and we saw that it was for rent or whatever, for lease. And I was like, it's not that expensive. We could just rent it and just hang out there.
What would you sell though?
I think I would probably sell either exotic energy drinks or from all over the world.
Right.
Or I would sell vapes.
Right, just stuff you like.
Just stuff I like.
Yeah, that's a great move. You consume all of your products.
Bro, as an artist, you have to create art that you would love. And as a salesman, you got to sell products you would buy.
You think so? I don't think so.
It sounds like something Mark Cuban would say.
It does, but you got to remember Chris Farley, the great Brian Dennehy said that he could sell a ketchup popsicle to a woman in hell wearing white gloves. That's the salesman. That's from Tommy Boy.
Are you a good salesman? Yeah. Are you a good salesman?
I am not a good salesman.
I'm a great salesman. It's really it's one of the most Arab things about me. I'm awesome at selling.
I have a really hard time lying like that. Like I can't, everything I feel is right there.
Not a problem for me at all.
I have a very tough time pretending. That's why I think a lot of people think I'm such an asshole, is because if a conversation's boring, I'm visibly annoyed.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Most of my life, I've struggled in life because I have gotten into opportunities that I shouldn't have gotten into because I've oversold. And you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
I've oversold and woke up and been like, oh fuck, I gotta do this thing, and I don't even know how, that kind of thing.
Dude, the worst thing punk ever did for me was give me integrity and dignity. And I've been trying to unlearn those two things. And it's just hard. I was talking to Tyler about that, how comics walk into rooms and these no talent hacks will walk in and they'll act like they're a big deal. Then the whole world believes they're a big deal. Mm-hmm. And I wish I could do that. Yeah.
You know what it is though, man? I'm going to throw you a little bit of disagreement here. And I don't think punk teaches you integrity. Punk teaches you punk is all about self-hate. There's so much self-hate.
Yeah. I'm a Catholic punk.
It's Catholic punk.
Dude, flagellate.
That's exactly it.
I'm a flagellator.
It's just like, it's this original sin bullshit.
Chronic flagellator. That's what I am.
And a chronic flatullator too.
Ooh. Wow, this man eats his beans.
Imagine if I had a bow tie. I've always said it would be so funny if Malcolm X's bow tie spun one time and he never explained it. Just one time Malcolm X never explained it.
Dude, that's funny, and I have no idea who Malcolm X is. But that's very funny.
You really don't know who Malcolm X is?
Of course I know who Malcolm X.
I thought there was some insane chance that maybe that was like a chapter of punk you skipped.
No, I listened to his speeches on Spotify just to get hyped.
Did you? I
still do.
I actually believe you do.
No, I still do.
Wow.
I love his speeches, dude. He's great.
He is great. He's really cool. I mean, again, I have another problem with him. I have a problem with all the weird Islam iterations. Nation of Islam is some goofy other thing. It's a completely different thing. I remember even as a kid, my dad was like, "Don't listen to those guys."
Right. They go to Mecca though, right?
I don't know.
The NOIs.
I think their big thing is that the white man is the devil. Like, are you familiar with this concept? And like Yakubians and whatever.
I'm very familiar with that concept. Yeah.
Well, you're familiar with that concept, but he's the one who wrote it. A lot of people don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, it makes sense that white people would be from, the sunburn logic alone.
Yeah.
The fact that we can't be in the sun is insane.
But then
it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
We're from a planet that lives off of a sun and we're allergic to it.
Yeah. That's fair. But that also being said, I feel like on the flip side, I see Tom Brady and I go, well, obviously God's white. So
dude, QB12.
I mean, there are certain people you just go like, okay, well, how do you even disagree with this argument? People are gonna hate this podcast so much.
Listen, if you don't have a sense of humor, you should turn this off.
What do you think about this new young Columbo jacket I purchased?
You think it looks like young Columbo?
I think I look like a hot young Columbo.
I think you look like you're trying to become a hype beast on Melrose.
You think so?
But you are just there's something off.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's just something off. Your shoes aren't big enough. You don't have those big clunkers.
That's a fair point. Yeah, those fucking shoes. You know what I hate?
How embarrassed are people going to be when they look back at themselves in those fucking shoes?
You know what I hate is because so I feel like that's when you start to see people make money. When white people make money in Hollywood, the first thing they do is they buy those shoes, like big
sneakers,
big goofy sneakers, and it's always writers are all guys who are about 5'3", all of them. And it drives me out of my head because I'm like, why are you making me look at your stupid little legs? Your legs are 3 inches.
Yeah.
And you're forcing me to look at your 6 inches total. 3 inches leg, 3 inches shoe.
Right. Every LA writer who gets a little bit of money instantly is like, I can be black now.
It's the first move.
Yeah.
It's so embarrassing.
You'll catch me wearing Supreme head to toe?
Yeah, it's like...
Because I wrote on fucking season 7 of Comedy Punch Out or whatever.
What is... Yeah. I was just talking about Comedy Punch Out. I called it Punchline Posse the other day. I wasn't sure what it was called.
Yeah. I write for a lip syncing show. What do you write? Mostly the intros.
I actually wrote Mr. Giggle Pants too.
Oh, good for you. That's great. I was on Giggle Pants 3.
You were on Giggle Pants 3?
Yeah.
I couldn't have written Giggle Pants 2 unless I got sober, as I like to tell people. That's what I love the highlight. Is when people go sober, they're like, if I didn't get sober 9 years ago, I would have never written Mr. Farthead. You're like that. You got sober to write Mr. Farthead.
Yeah, dude. If I didn't get sober, I wouldn't have landed on those State Farm commercials.
Yeah. Thank God I quit opiates, because if it wasn't for that, I would have never adapted Captain Underpants to the big screen. You fucking loser. Shut up.
There's 4 people in this town doing anything worthwhile.
Yeah, it's true. And they're insane drug addicts, all of them.
Quentin Tarantino and then 3 other people.
Yeah, Quentin Tarantino is, I don't know if he's a drug addict, but I think his love for like feet, it would be equivalent to like a drug.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's he loves something too much and incorrectly.
Did you see that little rascal Brad Pitt roasting him at the SAG Awards?
Brad Pitt is...
he was throwing out one-liners that were just one word away from being good.
Oh, dude, I have a theory about Brad Pitt, dude. There's nobody stupider.
Yeah, I believe that. He's a vessel. That's why he's a good actor. You just fill him with whatever you want him to be.
Idiot. No, but there are some people, like, let me give you an example. Robert Downey Jr., great actor, handsome guy. And you
sure you don't mean Morton Downey Jr.?
Morton. Well, no. Here, let me get through this before we start razzing me. He's a good, like, you're like, you've seen him on shit and he's good on his feet. You may not love everything, but you're like, he's charming. Brad Pitt, I've seen him for like 50 years in Hollywood, and I've rarely heard him speak off the cuff.
Downey, all his SAG award, all those one-liners are written by some shitty comic.
They're written by, I can probably I'll name them off air, all the comics who wrote for that. Like, I know those people.
There was one line he had about Quentin Tarantino, and this was me being like, that word is not a good comedy word, where he said, Quentin Tarantino has separated more women from their shoes than the TSA. And I said, separated is not a funny
it's
word.
Not the right word.
It's the wrong word. Separated ruins that joke.
Yeah. Has separated his, that's such
it's an inhuman way of saying it.
To me, also.
It's like a robot trying to speak English.
Separated.
And I separated her from her shoes.
It's so insane. It doesn't
takes
make
all
sense.
the attention away from the joke.
It makes me focus on the word separate. And by the way, the word you know what I think of when I hear the word separate? Families and the border.
Exactly. I think of that refugee sign where they're dragging that daughter at the very end, where there's like 4 families or 4 people in the family.
I love that one.
Yeah.
That's a sign. When you see that sign, you're in hell.
I have that tattooed on my lower back.
Do you really?
Yeah, refugees welcome in my ass.
That's what I hate, dude. That's what I hate about your fucking. It's not your hometown, but you spend so much time there. The Bay Area is the number of places that are like, we refugees welcome, buy this denim jacket. That's all the places in the like.
Be careful. This got another podcast in a lot of trouble.
Did it?
This exact situation.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Do tell.
Come Town. You know the podcast. Adam, the gay one, he said,
is he gay?
You know, in the that's his role in the podcast.
Understood.
Yeah. I don't know what his sexuality is really.
I feel like podcast. There's like you know how like comedy sketches have like a straight man and a funny man.
Yeah.
Podcasts are like, that's the gay one.
And that's
the
the
racist
fat one.
That's the fat one.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
literally, that's Come Down. But they're all funny. He made fun of a coffee shop that had refugees welcome and was selling like $6 pour coffee.
And people got up in arms.
Because he named the place. And then people got really upset, but he had a really good point.
Well, if anybody wants to come after this fucking podcast, you're more than welcome to.
I mean, we have a refugee on the podcast.
You know, my parents are both card-carrying refugees. Like, they have UN cards that say that they're refugees.
Really?
So what those cards mean is, like, they can go to, like, the UN center and go collect sacks of grain or whatever.
Nice.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like a helicopter will throw a bag of rice on their head once a week. Like they're in Mogadishu.
Yeah, exactly. And I got to tell you right now, here's how much of a refugee my dad is. After 25 years in America, every time he goes to Palestine, I have to be like, don't get any grain. He'll want to just go get it because he can. I'm like, don't you dare pick up a gallon of olive oil. You don't need that. He'll be like, but it's free. I'm losing money if I don't collect UN supplies.
Do you remember that group of people in Philadelphia? Like, not remember because it was before we were born, but the black activists who got bombed by the police in Philadelphia, Operation Move.
No, I never heard of this before.
There was this they were all adopted the last name Africa, and they became. I think Mumia Abu-Jamal might have come out of that movement.
Who?
You know Mumia Abu-Jamal?
Mumia Abu-Jamal?
You know Mumia Abu-Jamal?
By the way, can I say this before you go any further? How come they're allowed to appropriate my culture? They can have their crack in my culture all they want, but as soon as I get dreadlocks, I'm a fucking cocksucker.
As soon as I wear a do-rag, everybody's all mad at me.
But as soon as I put on a grill and start mumble rapping, everybody tells me I'm a fucking piece of shit. Fuck you. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. Well, anyway, the whole reason the olive oil reminded me of this, but I thought you would know about these people. But the funniest part of this, saddest part of this story, my bad.
Funny the way the Sri Lankan slave is funny. That's all right. That's the episode title, dude. The Sri Lankan slave.
It's
Yes.
So the police bombed this. They had a shootout with the cops because they were trying to evict him out of there. They were squatting.
Yeah.
And they had a shootout. And so they bombed him. And I'll get back to the olive oil in a second. But apparently the police chief who ordered the Philadelphia chief of police who ordered the bombing, his last words on his deathbed is, "I still don't regret bombing those people." How Philadelphia is that? He's on his deathbed. He's like, "I would have dropped it today if I could."
What a bunch of pieces
And
of
then he's
shit.
like, "Go Birds," and died. But yeah, so the way these, he's such a, perfect chief of police. You know?
Absolutely.
He's probably Italian too.
So funny. It's so funny.
Yeah. But he, the activists, the way they bathed, because I have like a zine that they wrote that's like they reissued, and I have the zine. They would dump olive oil on their bodies, and then they would take like a credit card type of plastic, and they would scrape themselves with the olive oil off, and that's how they clean themselves.
That sounds brutal.
Yeah, they were saying that the way we were taught to shower is like how white people shower or something.
Oh, so they got that. That's, you know what? That's my problem with Whole Foods. It's my problem with all those places where it's like, you can't say everything we did was like, when you go to Whole Foods, they don't have Tylenol. It's like, this is our Tylenol.
Yeah, exactly.
You go, everything is bad.
Yeah,
everything is
some
wrong.
things are worth it.
I would believe you. That's why I would believe ISIS or whoever if they were like, all right, the West is wrong, except we have to admit Puddle of Mud is a pretty good band.
Fake tits rule.
That would be, if ISIS came out and was like, your lives are decadent, but fake tits are pretty, they're...
I gotta admit, those '90s round knockers were the best. the lead singer of ISIS saying that.
The lead singer of ISIS.
Those big Jonah Jameson '90s fucking like pomelos
I'm
that
a
they
fan
would
of
just
those.
shove in your chest.
Whenever I see the goofiest fake tits on the planet, I
Bleach
go like,
blonde, no ass,
I love
giant round knockers.
I love it. I go,
You know who loved that was Saddam. Saddam loved big fake titted blonde white girls.
I was going to say 2 peas in a pod, but really what I should say is 2 garbanzo beans in a hummus dish, my friend. We both got...
We're 2 stuffed grape leaves. We're 2.
So funny. 2 lamb shawarmas on a number 6.
2 dolmas in a can. That's what it is.
There it is. 2 dolmas in a can.
2 dolmas in a can.
I'm a fan of it. I like it. I like anybody who does anything freakish to try to make themselves like more attractive. I respect it. You know.
They caught him with a bunch of like blonde Playboy specific and like Beverly Hill blonde bimbos, volume 40.
You know what my dad would tell you, and this is why I love my father so much, is he'd go, "That's all a lie. They planted it there." Like when they found porn with Osama bin Laden, my dad was like, "Look, I'm not saying he's a good guy, but I promise you that's not his porn."
Really?
My dad is hell bent on like that's not his porn. He would never do that.
Why? What's his rationale for him being a?
My dad feels the way about Osama and his porn, the way I think a lot of the African American community and Michael Jackson about touching children. Like it's a very similar. Like to him, he's like that's some real he's still like that's bullshit that the media is pushing out on him.
It's like Infowars people and Timothy McVeigh.
Yes, they can't stand that this dude is so fucking real. They had to discredit him on the way out.
Right, yeah.
You know
They're
what
like,
I mean?
oh, they got to say Timothy McVeigh was on meth when he planned the Oklahoma City bombing. No, like, listen, I didn't want those kids to die, but he had a good point. He really did.
He's very much, my dad's on that shit, dude. Where he's like, look, I didn't say 9/11 was a good thing. I feel like I bring this up on every podcast. I think I'm going to have to talk to a therapist soon. I bring this up on like every podcast I'm ever on.
It didn't say 9/11 was a good thing.
But he thought it was complicated. You want to should we roll it into the next episode at this point? Or what do you think? What are we doing? It's like we got.
Let's just keep going and we'll figure it out. Cool. We don't need any organic. Listen, I'm here with Ramsey Badawi, the Tie-Town Shake. You're listening to WHOTW. I'm Brian Big Business
Reintroducing.
Yeah. Ramsey Badawi here at Ramsbad on Twitter and Instagram. Tie-Town Shake. Good to have you here, buddy. How you doing?
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I'm a huge fan, long-time listener, first time here.
First time guest.
So
what do you got? What's on the horizon for you? What kind of projects you got in the can?
Yeah, well, I just submitted something to the ISIS Film Festival, and it's
dude, that's a tough. I mean, they make beautiful.
Well, let's just say they're quick to cut if they don't like something.
I was talking to you about that, right? When we talking about the blood and the waters. Yeah, there's a beheading video.
It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous.
And the blood is like the tide is coming in and out, and the blood is running into the tide. It's very beautiful shit.
Have you ever seen the video where they lit the pilot on fire?
No.
I'm going to tell you right now, it's literally one of the most menacing videos you'll ever see.
Do they put a tire around his neck and light the tire on fire? Because I've seen that.
Bro, here's okay. And we're going to cut. It's so good.
It is a peaceful religion, though.
Let's just be one thing clear.
Yeah. And also, don't let a few bad Catholics make you think the whole religion is a bunch of child fuckers.
It's not. And I want to make one thing clear. It's not a bad religion. It's just a vast majority of the people are misinterpreting it.
Listen, only 60% of 1 billion people are going the wrong way with it. What are you going to do?
Only 93% of British Muslims thought that gays should be thrown into the ocean. Have you ever seen those? They do surveys all the time where they talk to British Muslims, and they're like, "Yeah, well, we found that 93% said all gays have AIDS." It's like a crazy. It's always,
dude. I pictured some comic coming up with the questions. Should we ask him if gays should be thrown into the ocean? That'd be funny, right? Let's go down there. It's like a man on the street bit, but every guy's like, yes.
It never works.
Yeah.
Bow tie spins. Yeah. One bow tie spins. No, the one where they lit the Jordanian pilot on fire. We'll watch it after the podcast because it is shot. It is menacing. It's all these shots of these those foot soldiers and Ninja Turtles.
Oh yeah, the Foot Clan.
They're all Foot Clanned out. You see just as far as the eye can see, they're all in abandoned buildings, peeking their heads around and shit.
Yeah.
And then you see the one Jordanian pilot, and he's tied up, and he's just in this cage, and he's kind of looking solemn, and he's solo. And one dude just walks up, and it's all these great shots, dude. Great shots.
It's very ritualistic,
and he's got the stick, and he lights the stick on fire, and he puts it onto the ground, and there's a trail of yeah, dude.
Oh, that's cool.
He lights him on fire like it's a firework, dude.
Wow.
And there's this crazy shot of when the fire hits him, he kind of goes and he looks up at the screen, and it almost looks fake. You're like, this isn't real. And then in a few seconds, you realize it's very real.
Yeah. Oh, my God. It's tough to watch that stuff. Bill Burr said it best, where he said that he looks at your soul as a TV screen with pixels.
Yeah.
And every time you watch one something like that, one of those pixels goes away.
I can't agree with you more. I can't agree with that more because I have so many friends. My girlfriend is like this, where she's like, why would you watch anything like that?
I know. I've watched it all. Faces of Death. Gay guys getting thrown out of towers. Journalists with tires around their neck getting set on fire.
You're just
Which, by the way, really bad for the environment.
The tire part is what.
Yeah. That's really offensive.
Yeah, I also got to believe journalist ash is probably not good for the environment, but I'm most upset about the tire. I'm most upset about the vulcanized rubber.
Yeah, all that fake news just going up into the ozone layer.
That's a good point. That's actually one thing you could say to counter Donald Trump is, well, when there's real news, journalists get beheaded. So the good thing of fake news is they're not getting killed anymore.
Yeah, well, they're getting killed with fake swords.
That shit pisses me off, dude. Killing a journalist, come on, man. How tough do you think you are? Killing a communications major?
Well, it's hard to kill a drone.
Well, that's
the only people who can get their hands on.
I'm just saying, if ISIS really wanted to scare me,
if they had a drone behead video? They're
cutting the propeller off.
The guy has a welding burqa on.
On some real shit, they really should do that. That's a great point. They should knock down a drone on some symbolic bullshit, but they, I don't think they could ever get it together that way. Although they can. Sometimes you see them. That's
why they got to stop playing soccer and start playing real sports where you throw with your arms.
And so
then they can get the drone with the rock.
That's a good point.
And knock it down. But too bad they're kicking these fucking journalists' heads around. We're talking about ISIS specifically. By the way, I want that to be clear.
Russians do some crazy shit too. If you watch Russian, sometimes
look at this Russian. There's an Instagram account I follow. It's insane.
Yeah. Sometimes if I can't fall asleep, I'll watch dash cam from Russian police officers or whatever.
Dude, Russian dash cams are great.
Russian dash cams. Every car in Russia comes with a dash cam.
I know.
Horrible sign for your country.
Dude, the Russians can't be killed.
Yeah, I mean they're just an unstoppable. If Russia can't kill you, nothing else can. You know what I mean?
That's true.
If the country of Russia can kill you.
That was like they just hurled like 17 million Russians at the Nazis, and that's how that war ended.
They literally just threw the most. But hey, you know what? Being a man is easy. It's very easy. It's really easy. Don't stop. It's so easy to be a man. That's my response always. Like, yeah, they fucking threw us away for hundreds of thousands of years. They just took dudes and they just threw them away. I'll fucking take 77 cents. I'm so close to being on compound media, so by myself. They're gonna put half this
just
podcast
alone in a room.
They're gonna put half this podcast out on compound media.
I know, this is great. I'm the progressive one.
How does that feel?
It feels like I'm back in my 20s, man. It feels like I'm down at Occupy Oakland, you know?
We're both disenfranchised from our original
100%.
points
dude.
of view.
I've never been betrayed more than by somebody who was on the right side of history.
Yeah, that's
you know
really,
what I mean?
You know, when you were talking about that the other day, it like shook me. You were talking about it shook me how much in common I realized in that moment that was our bond together was being completely disenfranchised by whatever group of people.
Was that an on mic conversation?
No, it was an off mic
so
conversation.
For context for the
put
listeners,
the context in. I was setting you up.
Yeah. The context for the listeners is that when I was young, I was a very active anarchist organizing.
But real deal, like what I like about Bryan is I've known this about you since I've met you is that you're one of those pieces of shit who fucking smashed windows during riots.
I have pieces of a
fucking
Wells Fargo bank glass window in my room now to this day from one that I smashed myself.
From the Fruitvale Station guy? What was that guy's name?
Oscar Grant.
Grant.
An Oscar Grant protest.
Yeah.
That was the only time I smashed banks.
But that's what I'm saying. Like you're the real fucking deal. Occupy whatever bullshit.
Yeah.
Preoccupy.
Preoccupy.
Occupy was when it turned on you. When you realized it was just a bunch of fucking losers.
When everybody was fucking phony and rich.
Yeah.
That was the problem. I kind of committed myself to this kind of classist movement that everybody, eat the rich, like fucking capitalism is the number one great Satan in this world or whatever, to use your people's terminology.
Thank you.
Welcome. And then you realize that you're giving yourself to this movement. I'm letting people cook food, not bombs. I'm giving free food out for homeless people out of my house. I learned to be a peer-to-peer counselor. I was counseling homeless people for free at the Berkeley Free Clinic. And I was a member of all these organizations, needle exchange, doing all this shit, giving all my time, thinking that everybody around me believed this shit too. But then you meet their parents, you realize they're all fucking rich. They're all buying property in the Bay Area. Yeah. You know how many homeowners I know with patches on their pants and fucking mullet hawks, and they own homes in the most expensive part of the world. Not the country, the world. And then I realized I don't have this fucking safety net. You know what I mean? And then everybody is also just living to be the most righteous, perfect person. They churn on you like that.
Not only do you not have the safety net, they are 100% of the time profiting from the system that they're trying to destroy. You realize very quickly that what's going on is they don't hate rich people. They hate mom and dad who are rich people.
One time I was literally at a riot that was smashing a strip mall up with a anarchist friend of mine whose dad is a strip mall real estate developer in Texas. Do you understand? And when we got arrested, you know what his father said? He called bail, and the father said, "Who do I have to pay to get this to go away?" Ooh, I don't have anybody I can call to do that. My dad gave me $1,000 for Christmas once, and I cried.
I want that so badly. I want to be that guy's dad so badly.
Who do I pay to make this go away?
I thought you could get there. On the other side of the coin, young Republican Ramsey believed that, pull yourself up by the bootstraps and someday you'll be paying off the prosecutors. Right. Someday you'll be, and you quickly realize,
I love how you're still definitely going to commit crimes. Listen, no matter what, crimes are going to happen. You got to have the money to cover them.
I was mad that it turns out the Republicans weren't bad enough. I'm like, they were actually pretty good guys. No, but I mean, there was so much bullshit. The truth of the matter is I was into this idea of I thought being anti-gay was against conservatism. Like I'm like, that's lame. Like why would you let the government tell you who to marry? Like I was like one of those people. You know what I mean? Like,
well, there was there legend. Oh no, there was. The Supreme Court ruling came out. Actually, this is a funny story. I was in boot camp, right? And the way you get news in boot camp is they call you to formation and they yell. Like for example, when Johnny Cash died, they called us into formation.
Real quick, FY Bryan was in military for how many years?
Just shade under 3 years.
3 years. Okay, got it.
And they pulled us into formation, and the drill sergeant says, "Who here likes Johnny Cash?" I raise my hand. He goes, "He's fucking dead. Get over it." And then
I love that guy.
Yeah. So, by the way, I'm going to tell this story the way it is. So, if you're sensitive, trigger warning. You're about to hear an F-bomb.
Oof.
You know.
Okay.
Here we go. So that way, when Seth Simons goes through this podcast, when I succeed, I can give him the cue so he can isolate this and ruin me.
I like that Seth Simons is coming for you in this podcast.
Yeah. In the future. Yeah, he can't come for you. He's white.
That's a good point. That's actually a great point.
You're fucking bulletproof to him.
I'm bulletproof. See, this is why I'm pissed off. You are unquestionably a better person than me. They shouldn't be doing this to you.
So the Supreme Court, I believe it was the federal Supreme Court, or it was either the California or federal Supreme Court. Yeah, the Supreme Court made sodomy not illegal anymore. They decriminalized it or whatever because they weren't charging for it or whatever, but that it was on the books as an illegal act. I believe sodomy, which is ass sex.
Yeah,
or actually mouth sex is sodomy too.
Is it?
It's any sex that where procreation can't happen. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, I did not know
that's
that.
what sodomy is.
Oh, that's right. I've heard the phrase oral sodomy before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which also was a great band. I saw it in
Oral sodomy.
76 opening for Hawkwind.
That's a real band, I'm assuming, or no?
Oral
sodomy. Okay, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if you were doing that joke, or if that was a real thing.
They called us into formation. And my drill sergeant walks in and goes, "Good news, it's."
That's such a.
We're all in formation. We're standing, at ease. We got our hands behind our back, and we're all in formation, towing the line next to our cots. And he goes, he says, attention. We go into attention, then we go into at ease. He goes, "Good news, it's." He goes,
That's insane.
And he goes, "The Supreme Court just decriminalized sodomy, so all that butt fucking you guys have been doing every night is now no longer a crime. But if I catch you, I will still kill you."
Oh my God.
And then he put us out of formation.
I pictured him writing that earlier the day. He's like, "What would be a stuff like? What's a topical thing that's going on these days?" He's like looking at the news so he could write jokes to open
Every
up.
time I see one of those yellow ribbons on the back of a car, I just think of all the shit I saw in there. All the soldiers. There was a group jerk off under blankets to the Paris Hilton sex tape.
Oh, that's.
I walked into the barracks and there's 5 soldiers jerking off under blankets.
What are they how are they watching
it? It was on a TV in the day room.
Ooh.
In the fucking day room of the barracks.
I guess. You know what? I've never been in that situation before. I guess you just sort of block out everybody else, that kind of the game, or are you into the fact that everyone's jerking it?
I blocked it out. I went into my room. You know what's funny is a couple of those guys who were jerking off together beat the shit out of me for being gay. You know what I mean? How weird is that?
Yeah, it kind of always works out that way, doesn't it?
I was thinking, I was laughing the other day that the funny thing about like the progression of like gay rights in this country is that I've officially been beat up for being gay more than actual gay kids now.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
You've probably been beat up.
At least white kids.
There's at least probably statistically 1 or 2 people that beat your ass that is now trans.
Yeah, bro.
That's gotta be 1 or 2
for sure.
That's now trans,
Yeah.
and not from the Bay Area.
No,
Georgia.
Yeah, for sure, dude. But I mean, I got my ass kicked constantly for being gay.
Oh yeah,
Never was gay.
Sometimes I want to beat the shit out of you for being gay, and
That's
I remember
fair enough.
I
had a vulnerable moment on this podcast. It was worth it to. You deserve. I deserve it. Listen, I'm stuttering because I think I was sincere for a second, and I'm gonna regret. I'm not gonna sleep tonight.
No, it was beautiful.
I try so hard to not say anything I mean.
No, I feel
that's how you don't get in trouble.
I feel the same way, but this podcast today has been drifting into some real territories.
Yeah, that's not what I want to do.
I kind of like it. It's fun. The kids like vulnerability, man.
It's because we don't have a screen to pull up the news. Usually we hide behind a wall of news.
You've seen Gerard. The kids love it now. Being open. Gerard.
Who's that?
Buddy, you got to start watching comedy.
Shout out to Red Fox, big inspiration for this podcast.
Red Fox, Kirk Fox. Who's Kirk Fox?
Kirk Fox is that he's very funny.
Star. He's actually a real comic.
He's like a nationally ranked tennis player.
Star Fox, Fox News.
Star Fox. I loved Star Fox. Holy shit.
Star Fox is so fucking good.
Dude, on N64.
Dude, it's so good.
Oh my God, dude. I've totally forgot about Star Fox. I want to play so bad. I bet it looks like shit.
Do you have
now.
an N64?
No, but I have a roommate who does.
Dude, I'm going to get an N64. I want to get a Nintendo Switch so badly. This podcast is... Oh, you got one? You got Star Fox too?
Dude, is it still good?
Yeah.
Tyler, the producer, says Star Fox holds up. And I believe it because he's a fucking snob about media.
Yeah, he really is.
Yeah, no, that's a compliment.
Tyler is only here because he's a fucking snob. I can really feel it.
We only work with snobs.
Only work with snobs.
You get out of here. You come out here with that for the people bullshit. Get the fuck out of here. No, I want elitism.
You know what I say? When I hear people going for the people, I go, have you met the people?
What people? These people?
These people?
These people are bad people. Are you for the bad people?
You know what? Tom Papa, of all the people, used to have a great bit about this.
Really?
Tom Papa used to be like, because it'd be like 99% versus the 1%.
Yeah.
He'd be like, I don't feel like we're all part of the same group. Like, it should be like the 99, it should be like the 80% and the 20%. And
Yeah,
the
which
1%.
group are you in?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm in a different 1%.
Yeah.
We don't have any money, but I like them.
Dude, I would. Well, so that's kind of what brought me into Republicanism was when I was younger, I looked at the Occupy people and then I looked at rich business people and I was like, who the fuck do I want to hang out with? These fucking nerds who are kicking around a hacky sack or these guys who are moving and shaking?
Do you know that oh God, never mind.
You gotta. We have a lot to cut out in this podcast.
Well, this isn't offensive. It's embarrassing.
Ooh, this is good.
I used to speak at Occupy Oakland, which was the biggest one. I spoke a lot, and a woman quoted Gandhi, and then I followed by calling Gandhi sexist, and I got a standing ovation from the anarchist side, and I got booed from the communist side.
Oh yeah, that's a rough one.
I split the room.
So Gandhi's another one that people are like, well, he's it's complicated because he also was like a polygamist. I mean, not that that's an issue, but
he
he
wouldn't
was
let
like,
his wife take Western medicine because it was against his religion. Then when he got sick, he took Western medicine.
Didn't he fuck around on his wife a lot?
Yeah, and he beat her.
They all fucked on the wife. They all beat the wife. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Remember when they tried to take down MLK too?
They always try to take down. Every year there's a concerted effort to take down MLK.
What an insane thing to do.
Dude.
Whose goal is that? You know who needs to come down a notch? That fucking arrogant MLK.
even if you truly believed it, like even if you were truly like, I am again, it's like, this is your guy. This is the cross you're gonna die on.
Yeah. You know who didn't try to take him down? Who had plenty of chances? Coretta Scott King.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely. If she can live with it, I'm sure. So good. So could you.
Yeah, exactly. Chill.
Jesus fucking Christ, man.
Yeah, there we go. We ended on a progressive note.
That was not bad.
How about that?
Yeah, I heard a sound in there. Is somebody in here? Are we done?
Thank you for listening to the worst hour of the week with Brian Vokey and Ramsey Badawi. Peace be unto the prophet.